The situation on the line of actual control in eastern Ladakh has shown some simmering down after a disengagement was observed in the last 48 hours. This is an outcome of the Corps commander level talks, where it was agreed that there will be some degree of disengagement over the next few days. And I think about 2 days ago, the Indian Army started noticing that the Chinese have started sort of removing their posts and structures and pulling back. And it was only till by yesterday was it confirmed that, especially in Galwan, the Chinese troops have gone back to a considerable distance beyond the point where the clash had taken place, back to where they used to patrol near patrol point 14, etc. In Pangong Tso, there has been no such major change, but some marginal thinning out. And in Gogra and Hot Springs, these are the other areas where you've seen some kind of significant troop reduction by the Chinese. What this essentially means is where troops were in a face-off kind of situation and there was fear that some kind of conflict or clash might happen, there the disengagement has created some kind of a feeling that at least there is the potential of a clash happening, or the chance of a clash happening is somewhat reduced. Beyond this, a lot more has to be done. Firstly, how far back the Chinese have gone, this is another process of verification. Let's not forget after what has happened on June 15th, verification has become a big element which has got introduced to India-China military to military border conversation. Because any claim from either side or any step from either side, especially from the Indian standpoint, will not be believed unless doubly checked and verified through independent sources. So the verification of how far the Chinese have gone back, where they will stay, what kind of fortifications they will rebuild, the efforts they would make to ensure that they can come back, how reversible is the change which is taking place. So that's important. The degree of reversibility, all these things are part of a complex verification exercise which is going on. What the disengagement process has done is it has given the space to unlock higher level political and diplomatic conversations. So immediately you had the special representatives on the boundary question. On the Indian side is the NSA Ajit Doval, actually holding a detailed conversation with his counterpart Wang Yi, who also happens to be the foreign minister in China, on Sunday itself. And they agreed that there will be further talks on de-escalation, that the Chinese, while they're not talked about, if you look at the Chinese statement, it doesn't mention that they've given up claims on Galwan or anything, but they do recognize that the future of this relationship should be built on several other aspects, including economic and developmental aspects, rather than allowing these differences to dominate the larger relationship. And based on that, they also have taken some decisions to pull back. This disengagement obviously has to be coupled with some kind of de-escalation of the amassing of troops that has happened in the rear. And unless those numbers come down, a greater degree of comfort will be difficult to come through in a longer term perspective. These will be trying months, June, July to October, November, when the winter actually sets in, because India will watch each and every move with a fair amount of caution, will double check on everything, and will remain, try to keep its troops in a position that they are able to respond to any unexpected threat. Remember, it is way easier for the Chinese to deploy themselves on the frontiers at the LAC than it is for India at many places, largely because the Chinese have infrastructure, and also the topography helps them perhaps in Ladakh region especially. So all this put together, it's a first sign, should be seen with a high degree of caution, opens up spaces for diplomatic and political conversation, which everybody hopes will show some kind of way forward, so that this disengagement converts itself into a more meaningful de-escalation, and other aspects of the relationship can receive more attention, and some kind of normalcy can return to the relationship.